Hey guys, welcome to the video. In this video, I'm going to take the one-piece front end from my existing Baja bug, and I'm going to install it on the front end of the tube chassis that I'm working on. The first thing that I'm going to have to do, which I have to do every time now, which is a pain, but I won't have to do it forever, is I'm going to slide the Baja out. Then I'm going to lower the tube chassis, and then I'll unbolt the one-piece front end from this Baja, and I'll kind of mock it up on the new chassis, and then I can take a look at what I have to work with. So yesterday I installed this part on the tube chassis. It's basically the front end, and I matched the dimensions of all this to match the dimensions on my existing, because the A-arm suspension that I made for that I'm real happy with how all that works, and I actually I'm very happy with the way it looks, just how the front end kind of comes into there with the skid plate and the license plate. I really liked all that. So when I came over for the new chassis, I mimicked that. It's a little different, you know, by maybe an inch and a half here and there, but for the most part it's the same. And it is different up top here, because this is going to have more strength than the one on this bug. But and of course, it's missing all sorts of components, because until I get the suspension on here, I'm going to have to, you know, make some shock mounts and make an upper brace and all that. But this gets me the initial structure. All right, so now that I've got this chassis down, I showed you what I welded on here yesterday. I'm going to take the one piece off the existing bug and mock it up on here so that I can start seeing what I've got to work with to make whatever I'm going to make to mount this. All right, now I've got the one-piece front end sitting on there. I've got a little, if I put a little clamp here, it holds it at a good distance off the front bar here. And I've got a little mark from my original fabrication for center on the one-piece front end. And then I don't know if you can see it, but you can't see it. Right in the middle of this clamp on the tube, I've got another mark for center, so it's easy to keep this lined up with center. And then back here, I've got the one-piece front end is actually sitting on 1/2-inch thick foam, because although I don't know exactly what I'm going to fabricate through here for like merging into the windshield, I do know that the fiberglass is not going to sit directly on the steel. So this holds it out a little bit, and then interestingly enough, it seems to hold it pretty much parallel with the steel, so that's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's really close. So I know here on the front I'll end up fabricating something really similar to what I have on the existing bug. It's just a tab welded on here with a 5/16 hole for the fastener. So I'll make some cardboard templates for those. And that'll take care of that. So that shouldn't be too bad. Now this will be a little bit trickier, but when I look down on it, it's not too far off of the tube. So I think what I'm going to do is, for starters, just make some sort of a cardboard template, basically to take me from the tube here to probably an inch or two past the hole. And then I'll calculate the offset for either side so that I know how far off of the tube I need to be. And then I'll figure out if I'm going to fab this up out of some square stock, some rectangular stock, or if I need to start from scratch and just make it out of some flat plate. But for starters, I think what I'm going to do is just get a cardboard template so that I can see if they're all the same and my distances and things like that. So that's, now that I've got the one-piece front end mocked up. Oh, and I also put the seats in there just because that's fun. Really, no other reason. I just like putting those in there and sitting in here. And then also I was trying to get some ideas of how I'm going to set up the dash, but either way. That was really just a time waster, but it was fun, so I don't care. But anyways, that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get some cardboard templates going and seeing what I can get for that. Hey guys, here's what I'm at. I've made 4 of these, 2 for each side. If you notice, I've got a hole over here for the one-piece front end, and then I've got another hole here for possibly the future side panel. I'm not 100% sure, but I didn't want to go through all this fab work and have this piece here and not have a nice centered hole on it. If I use it for the side panel, that's great. If not, I'm sure it'll be covered up by the side panel, and then I won't use it. But as long as I was going through the work of punching holes and centering them, I put that in there. And now what I have here, I have the rubber grommets installed, and I have 2 of these behind here. You can see one is right there. I've got it clamped onto the level here. That's the upper one. This is the lower one. The level is keeping the 2 surfaces in line with each other. And then right now I've got a little strap that's pulling in on it so that it's holding the bracket up against the tube right there. And I've got a magnet down here kind of holding this one and keeping it square, and this one doesn't have anything holding it other than the clamp, but I did put a square on there to make sure it's square. It's got some pressure on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some little tiny tacks on the top and bottom of each of these to hold them in place, and then I'm going to go run to the other side and try and mock all this up for the 2 on the other side. And I'm also going to try and make sure that they're at the same elevation. I'm not 100% sure how square and proper my one-piece front end is, but I'm hoping when I laid all that out, I measured it, which I probably did, but hopefully, because this chassis itself is so symmetrical at this point, I want to continue that. So I'm hoping that I can mount these brackets at the same exact elevation on either side. But for now, I'm just going to tack these and then carry over to the other side and see if I can make everything exactly like it is on this side. So the driver's side and the passenger side have these 2 points right here. These are these rubber or polyurethane mounts, same mounts that I had, or same fasteners that I had on the other chassis. I really like these. They're a 5/16 bolt that goes in there, and then it's got this rubber washer that makes it so that even when it's tightened down, there's a little bit of movement so that it doesn't like stress fracture the fiberglass. And I installed these brackets. There's one on either side. There's 4 in total, and they're all symmetrical. So they're all installed at the same elevation, at the same points, probably roughly at the same angle, although there might be some minor deviations in the angle. It's really hard getting things perfectly symmetrical and perfectly lined up when you're working with this fiberglass stuff, because this fiberglass stuff, at least this front end, is not very true. Like, you can't really draw a center line down through here, and the radiuses are a little bit different from side to side. So it becomes a little bit of a give and take game when you're trying to line things up. Right now, it sits a little bit cocked this way, but I'm not worried about that. I squared everything up on the left and the right as much as I could, and when I actually make the piece up here, I'll just have it, you know, I'll have the piece that this sits on be nice and flat, so this will be a little bit more true. So this side has the same thing, and I don't know if I said earlier, but I did end up putting an extra bolt here so that when my side panel comes up, I don't know if it's just going to come out flush. I don't know if I'll make it so that it goes underneath. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I did want to leave myself a nice hole here so that if I wanted to use this as a fastener, just like this, I could. So while I had these, before I welded these up, while I was laying out this hole, I put a 5/16 over here as well. And on the inside here, you can just see how they're not solid welded, but they're pretty. I've got some pretty beefy tacks on them to hold them in place, just in case I need to make any adjustments. I can still whack these off pretty easy. When I do actually solid weld the whole chassis, then I'll come by and throw a little bit more weld on these. And then up front here, I made 2 little brackets. They're real simple. They just weld off onto the top here for the front end. And then those are using the same fasteners, and these are the same holes that I had on the other front end. As a matter of fact, if we look right behind us, the tabs are just like this because these are the tabs from my other chassis. So anyways, it's a little, doing this outro is a little melodramatic because, you know, it's a full day's worth of fabrication, cutting, grinding, drilling, tacking. A couple times I had to break things off and re-tack them because I didn't like how they came out, and just, you know, all these steps that just take your entire day. When you're done, you've got a product that you really like, you can be really proud of, but it's a full day. It's a lot of work. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys are enjoying the chassis. I know I am. It's nice now that I can sit in here. I will be giving out these designs when I'm done with this chassis. For anybody who's watching this now, just so you know, this chassis that I'm in right now is not designed to have a bug body wrap around it. It is just as big as a bug body. So I'm getting a lot of people asking if they can have the designs so that they can put it inside their bug. That's not what this chassis is designed for. This chassis is a standalone chassis. I'll probably in the future design one that will go inside a Volkswagen bug body, but not this one. This one is standalone. It gets a Volkswagen fiberglass one-piece front end, but other than that, you have to make everything else yourself. So guys, I hope the videos are motivating you to get out and work on your own stuff, and whatever that might be, and I hope I see you on the next video. Take care.